Jax's revenge domain. The call came at 8:47 a.m. on a Wednesday, 5 months and 12 days after they restructured my position. Hans Mueller, thick German accent, very professional. Mr. Walsh, we have discovered a significant issue with Alpine Bridge's certification status. Are you available to discuss immediately? I was sitting in my small office above Murphy's Diner, watching morning traffic cross the Allegheny River. 5 months earlier, I had been Alpine's senior project engineer. Now I was about to find out they'd made a $150 million mistake. My name's Rodney Walsh, 49, and I've been building bridges that don't fall down for 14 years. Before that, I spent 18 years in the Marine Corps Engineering Battalion, making sure our boys had solid infrastructure in places where getting it wrong meant people died. Same principle applies in civilian life. When a bridge fails, families lose everything. When compliance fails in federal contracting, companies disappear. The day this mess started was a Tuesday in March. My wife Helen had been fighting breast cancer for 6 months already, going through chemo every other week. The medical bills were brutal, even with our insurance. She was a high school math teacher, loved her job, but had to take extended leave when the treatment got rough. We'd been married 26 years, since I got out of the Marines, and this was the hardest thing we'd faced together. That same week, the private equity firm that bought Alpine 8 months earlier decided they needed to optimize operations. Enter Gavin Sterling, McKinsey consultant, 32 years old with a $3,000 suit and an iPad like it was going to solve world hunger. He had that MBA arrogance you see everywhere now, talking about operational inefficiencies and legacy workforce optimization while sipping some green drink that probably cost more than most guys here make in a morning. Gavin walked into our monthly safety meeting without introducing himself to the crew. Just started clicking through a presentation called Streamlining Infrastructure Operations Phase 1. Phase 1, it turned out, was gutting experienced personnel. I'd been Alpine's designated professional engineer for 14 years, responsible for all federal bridge certifications. That's 14 years of learning DOT regulations inside and out, building relationships with federal inspectors, documenting every possible failure scenario the Department of Transportation could throw at us. We had 12 active federal highway projects worth $87 million in contracts, plus our facilities, equipment, and established client relationships brought Alpine's total valuation to $150 million for acquisition purposes. My PE license was the legal signature on every single federal project. Without it, those contracts were worthless paper. Gavin didn't understand what a PE license meant. I watched him Google professional engineer licensing requirements during the meeting while explaining how we could automate engineering oversight using software solutions. Software can run calculations, but it can't sign federal documents or take legal responsibility when something goes wrong. My department was redundant, he said. My $97,000 salary plus benefits could be eliminated through digital transformation. That's $134,000 in annual savings, he bragged. Enough to upgrade their entire project management platform. A few guys actually nodded along, probably thinking about their own jobs. I just closed my notebook and asked if we were finished. Our son Jason, 25, worked as a junior engineer in the same company. Good kid, learning the trade the same way I had, starting from the bottom and earning respect through competence. But he'd be next on Gavin's efficiency list if this private equity firm decided to cut deeper. With Helen's treatment ongoing and no guarantee about insurance coverage if I lost my job, I couldn't afford to make waves, at least not yet. Gavin left satisfied with his presentation. I went back to my office and pulled out a fresh folder. It wasn't anger driving me, it was habit, Marine Corps training. When someone's about to make a mistake that gets people killed, you document everything and prepare for the aftermath. Most people at Alpine didn't realize that federal bridge projects require continuous PE oversight. Every monthly progress report, every safety certification, every compliance filing had Rodney Walsh listed as the responsible professional engineer. Federal law requires 30 calendar days to transfer PE responsibility with proper documentation and state board approval. No exceptions. Miss that window and you're in violation retroactive to the original PE's departure date. But Gavin didn't know that. Neither did Barry Hutchins, our CEO, who was too busy explaining to the PE firm how Alpine's new efficiency model would boost margins and make them more attractive for acquisition. At first, I thought someone would speak up. Maybe Barry, who once called me the guy who keeps us from losing federal contracts, would ask questions about regulatory requirements. But nothing. The PE firm was pushing for quick cost reductions to improve the books before selling to a larger European construction company. HR sent the restructuring paperwork 3 days later. New title, Senior Technical Advisor, pay cut to $78,000, security clearance downgraded, no more project authority. They wanted to keep me around for institutional knowledge, but without any real responsibility or the salary that came with it. I congratulated Gavin on hitting his cost reduction targets. He actually gave me a thumbs up and said I was adapting well to the new operational model. Professional courtesy kept me smiling. But inside, I was already planning. That evening, I sat down with Helen and Jason at the kitchen table. Helen was having a good day, the steroids from treatment giving her some energy back. Jason had noticed the tension at work but didn't know about the restructuring yet. "Dad, everything okay at the office?" Jason asked. "That consultant's been asking a lot of questions about staffing." "Just some efficiency reviews," I told him. "Nothing to worry about yet, but I want you to start documenting everything you're learning. Write it down, keep copies at home." Helen looked at me with that expression she got when she knew I was working through a problem. "Something you're not telling us, maybe, but I've got a plan. Trust me on this one." The next morning, I started my documentation process. I printed my original PE designation letters for all 12 federal projects. The ones signed by Barry in 2018 when I took over from the previous engineer who retired. Then I emailed copies to my personal account with timestamps. One set went into my home filing cabinet, next to Helen's medical records and insurance papers. The other went into a folder marked Federal Compliance Archive, reference only, and quietly placed it in our legal department's storage room, second shelf, right side. I didn't tell anyone. See, people think revenge needs to be dramatic, angry confrontations and speeches about being unappreciated. But nobody appreciates a sinkhole, either until the road collapses. The real strategy was in Section 15.2 of our Federal Contracting Manual, a requirement I'd added 3 years ago after watching a competitor lose $12 million in contracts for improper PE transitions. It stated that any change to designated professional engineer status must be formally transferred through state board documentation within 30 calendar days, or all certifications become legally invalid retroactive to the vacancy date. Federal bridge project violations start at $50,000 per day for major compliance failures. After 60 days of continued violation, they escalate to automatic federal review, which means potential criminal negligence charges. The math gets serious fast. Day 61 onwards, you're looking at $75,000 per day, plus contract termination, plus permanent federal blacklisting. Gavin had no idea. Legal hadn't checked the technical requirements. Barry just signed off on the efficiency report without reading the regulatory details. They were all focused on the immediate cost savings and how good it would look to the acquisition team. Helen's second round of chemo hit her hard that week. I took her to treatments on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, sitting in those awful hospital chairs while poison dripped into her veins to kill the cancer. She'd lost most of her hair by then, but she still insisted on going to work when she felt strong enough. Stubborn woman, always putting her students first. The bills were piling up despite insurance, co-pays, deductibles, prescription costs that weren't covered. We'd already burned through our emergency fund. If I lost my job, we'd lose our health coverage, and Helen would be uninsurable with her pre-existing condition. That reality kept me focused on playing this smart rather than letting emotion drive my decisions. Jason had started asking more questions about the restructuring. Sharp kid, inherited his mother's analytical mind and maybe some of my attention to detail. He could see the writing on the wall better than most of the senior guys. "Dad, they're talking about bringing in automated inspection software," Jason said one evening after work. "Gavin thinks AI can replace half the engineering staff." "What do you think about that?" I asked. "I think software can run calculations and generate reports. But when a bridge inspector shows up from the dot and wants to know why we made specific design decisions, software can't answer those questions. Experience matters." "Smart kid." "That's exactly right. Keep learning everything you can, son. Document the procedures, understand why we do things the way we do them. That knowledge is what separates engineers from technicians." 6 weeks after the restructuring, I submitted my resignation. Simple and clean. Effective 14 days from today, I will be stepping down from my position at Alpine Bridge Construction. That's it. No complaints, no demands, no company-wide email about being undervalued. They processed it like routine paperwork. Barry called me into his office the day after I submitted the letter. He looked stressed, probably pressure from the PE firm about acquisition timelines. "Rodney, I hate to see you go." Barry said, "You've been solid for us. Is this about the pay cut? Maybe we can work something out?" "No, sir. Just time for a change. I appreciate everything Alpine's done for my family. Well, you've got 2 weeks to wrap up your projects and transition everything to the team." I nodded. "I'll make sure everything's properly documented." That's what worried me. Everything was already documented, but nobody had read the documentation. Barry didn't realize that federal law doesn't allow project transitions without formal PE replacement. You can't just hand off regulatory responsibility like a set of car keys. IT disabled my access by end of day. The ticket was so rushed, they misspelled my name and forgot to update the Federal Compliance Registry. My PE designation remained active on all 12 projects with no replacement files. That weekend, I updated my profile on the Federal Engineering Registry, setting my PE status to active, project designations relinquished, no replacement filed, effective day 30. Then I registered Walsh Engineering Consulting, specializing in emergency compliance recovery for federal infrastructure projects. The business license cost $200. A simple website cost another $300. Professional liability insurance was $1,200 annually. Total startup costs under $2,000, and I was in business. 24 hours later, my phone started ringing. Word travels fast in the engineering community when someone with my experience goes independent. By Tuesday, I had 6 serious inquiries. 3 from law firms representing contractors in DOT trouble, 2 from engineering firms needing temporary PE coverage, and 1 from a German construction conglomerate that specialized in acquiring American infrastructure companies. That last one made me smile. Germanic efficiency meets American regulatory requirements. They'd need someone who understood both sides. Across town, Alpine hummed along without missing a beat. No transition procedures, no knowledge transfer, no replacement engineer. Gavin was already planning phase 2 of his optimization strategy, targeting equipment maintenance and field supervision. Barry started talking about Alpine's new competitive positioning in trade magazine interviews, emphasizing their lean operational model and improved margins. Nobody noticed the federal compliance clock ticking toward day 31. I set up shop in a small office above Murphy's Diner on Liberty Street. 2 desks, a coffee maker that worked most of the time, and a view of the river where I'd spent 14 years building things that lasted. Rent was $1,200 per month. My first consulting contract paid $150 per hour. The math worked better than my old salary, even accounting for benefits and taxes. Every morning I'd walk downstairs for coffee and a ham and egg sandwich. Murphy, old Pittsburgh guy who'd run the place for 40 years, knew I'd left Alpine but didn't ask questions. Engineers understand when someone doesn't want to talk about work. Helen was responding well to treatment by then. Her oncologist was cautiously optimistic about the tumor shrinkage. Having steady income from consulting work meant we could focus on her health instead of worrying about insurance coverage. "You sure this consulting thing's going to work out?" she asked one evening while we were reviewing medical bills. "Trust me," I said. "There's more demand for emergency compliance work than you might think. Companies cut corners, then panic when audits come around. What about Alpine? Think they'll be okay without you." "I'm sure they'll figure it out," I told her. "They've got smart people there." But I was counting days on my calendar, watching Alpine's compliance violation accumulate like interest on unpaid debt. Day 31 passed quietly, then day 40, then day 50. Still no replacement PE filed with the state board. Still no updated federal notifications. The violation was invisible but real, growing more expensive every single day. Day 67, I was in Tennessee helping a bridge repair company navigate a federal safety investigation. Their previous engineer had missed critical filing deadlines after a sudden resignation. Sound familiar? Potential fines were in the millions. My job was to reconstruct their compliance documentation and prove good faith efforts. Same attention to detail that kept Marines alive in hostile territory, just applied to civil engineering. Document everything, follow procedures, anticipate consequences. The skills transferred perfectly. That evening, Jason called with interesting news. Alpine had just announced they were in final negotiations for acquisition by a major European construction company. The deal would close within 60 days if due diligence went smoothly. "Think that's good for the company?" Jason asked. Depends on how thorough their due diligence process is, I said. European companies tend to be very careful about regulatory compliance. By day 89, Alpine's compliance violation had triggered the escalating fine structure. Daily penalties jumped from $50,000 to $75,000. Still invisible, still accumulating, still retroactive to my departure date. The acquisition announcement made the Pittsburgh Business Journal front page. Day 127, Alpine announced the deal of the century. Press release went out at 10 a.m. Alpine Bridge construction to be acquired by Steinberg Infrastructure Group for $150 million. The story made the Pittsburgh Business Journal front page. Barry was quoted extensively about Alpine's innovative cost management under new ownership trajectory. Gavin was quoted too, positioned as the architect of Alpine's lean operational model that attracted international attention. The article mentioned Alpine's strategic elimination of redundant functions and improved profit margins through workforce optimization. Gavin had managed to spin firing experienced engineers as forward-thinking business strategy. I read it over morning coffee at Murphy's, calculating the days in my head, 127 days of compliance violation, and counting. The old man saw me reading the business section, which was unusual for me. Big news in the construction world? Murphy asked, refilling my coffee. You could say that. Sometimes timing is everything. My grandfather used to work the steel mills, Murphy said. He always told me the same thing. The man who cuts the steel knows exactly how thick it needs to be, but the man who cuts the budget just knows it costs too much. Helen was feeling stronger that week. The chemo was working, and her oncologist was talking about switching to maintenance doses instead of the aggressive treatment schedule. For the first time in months, we started planning past the next medical appointment. Small things, like maybe taking a weekend trip when she felt up to it, or Jason bringing his girlfriend over for dinner. The insurance situation had stabilized with my consulting income. I was billing 40-50 hours per week at $185 per hour, which came out better than my old salary even after paying for my own health coverage. The work was steady. Turns out there's always demand for emergency compliance consulting when companies realize they've made expensive mistakes. Day 14-2, the due diligence team from Steinberg arrived in Pittsburgh. Professional, thorough, led by Dr. Sarah Hoffman, who spoke 4 languages and had the kind of engineering background that made German precision legendary. She'd been auditing American acquisitions for 12 years, and her reputation was spotless. Her team included Hans Muller, a compliance specialist who'd spent 15 years reviewing American infrastructure companies for European buyers. Hans had a background in both German engineering standards and U.S. federal regulations, which made him particularly valuable for international acquisitions. They spent the first week reviewing financial records, project timelines, and safety protocols. Everything looked clean. Gavin had prepared impressive presentations about streamlined operations and reduced overhead costs. The numbers were solid, showing improved profit margins and operational efficiency. The timeline was aggressive but achievable. Barry had already started discussing integration plans with Steinberg executives. The German team was impressed with Alpine's project portfolio and client relationships. This looked exactly like the kind of efficient American infrastructure company they wanted in their European portfolio. The due diligence team worked methodically through every aspect of Alpine's operations. Financial audits, safety records, equipment evaluations, client contracts, regulatory compliance status, standard procedure for an acquisition this size. Day 14-9, exactly 119 days since my departure, something interesting happened. Jason called me that evening with news from the office. Dad, that German compliance guy, has been asking detailed questions about engineering certifications and federal project oversight. Really specific stuff about PE license requirements and due oat filing procedures. What kind of questions, I asked? Like who signs off on federal compliance reports? How often certifications get renewed? What happens when the designated PE changes? Mary from HR couldn't answer half of them. That's pretty standard for international due diligence, I told him. European companies take regulatory compliance seriously. Yeah, but he seemed surprised that nobody could show him current PE documentation, asked specifically about transition procedures when you left. Interesting. What did they tell him? That everything was handled properly during workforce optimization, but he wanted to see the actual paperwork. I finished the call and sat back in my chair, looking out at the river where barges moved slowly through the evening light. The compliance clock was ticking toward the point where Alpine's violation would become impossible to ignore. Day 15-8, exactly 128 days since my PE designation had been terminated without replacement. Hans Mueller was in Alpine's legal archive room cross-referencing federal filings with personnel records. Routine due diligence, nothing unusual. He wasn't looking for problems, just verifying that all certifications were current and properly maintained. That's when he found my folder. Second shelf right side, exactly where I'd left it 5 months earlier. Federal Compliance Archive, reference only. Hans opened it and started reading the original PE designation letters, the Federal Contracting Manual with Section 15.2 highlighted, the timeline requirements, the State Board documentation that was never filed. Hans spent 2 hours going through every document, cross-referencing dates with Alpine's current compliance registry, checking federal requirements against actual filings. Then he called Dr. Hoffman. The math was simple and devastating. Day 31 through day 15-8 equals 128 days of compliance violation. First 60 days at $50,000 per day equals $3 million. Remaining $68 at escalated rates of $75,000 per day equals $5.11 million. Total exposure, $8.1 million, and climbing at $75,000 per day until resolved. But it got worse. No replacement PE had been designated, which meant every federal filing, every safety certification, every progress report submitted during those 128 days was legally invalid. Alpine had been misrepresenting its regulatory standing to clients, insurers, and potential buyers for over 4 months. Day 15-8 Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Hans Mueller walked into the Alpine conference room carrying a folder that would destroy everything Gavin had built. "Who is Rodney Walsh?" he asked, setting the folder on the table. The conference room went quiet. Barry, Gavin, the legal team, HR director, everyone who mattered was there for the weekly due diligence update. This wasn't supposed to be about personnel questions. Gavin looked confused. He used to work here. We restructured his position last year as part of operational optimization. Very successful cost reduction initiative. But he is still listed as your designated professional engineer, Hans said, opening the folder. According to federal registry in this documentation, he remains the responsible authority for all DOT projects. Barry leaned forward. That's impossible. We handled his transition months ago. Gavin oversaw the whole process. Hans wasn't smiling. Where is the State Board transfer documentation? The formal replacement filing, the updated federal notifications? Silence. Gavin started typing frantically on his phone. Barry was already reaching for his laptop. The legal team looked at each other like they'd never heard of PE licensing requirements. HR scrambled to find records that didn't exist. We assumed the transition was automatic when we restructured his role. Someone from HR offered weekly. Hans shook his head slowly. The way you might explain something obvious to a child. Federal PE designations are never automatic. They require explicit state board action and replacement within 30 calendar days. You have been operating without valid engineering authority for exactly 128 days. Dr. Hoffman, who had been quietly reviewing Hans's findings on her laptop, looked up from the screen. This represents material misrepresentation of regulatory standing during preliminary negotiations, plus significant federal compliance exposure. The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Gavin's confident expression was starting to crack. Gavin tried to salvage the situation, his MBA training kicking in. "It's just paperwork," he said, voice cracking slightly. "We can fix this today, bring Rodney back, file the forms, move forward. The deal doesn't have to change." "No, doctor." Hoffman said firmly, "You cannot retroactively fix federal compliance violations. Your current exposure is $8.1 million, increasing by $75,000 daily, plus potential criminal charges for misrepresentation to federal agencies." The room went dead quiet. Barry's face had gone gray. He'd been in construction for 30 years and knew what federal violations could do to a company. "Surely we can resolve this," Barry said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's a procedural oversight. We'll make it right." Hans opened his laptop and turned the screen toward the table. "Your compliance violations create massive liability exposure for any acquiring entity. But more concerning is the pattern of negligent oversight. Mr. Walsh left detailed documentation showing proper procedures were available and ignored." He clicked to the next slide. Section 15.2 of your Federal Contracting Manual, authored by Mr. Walsh, explicitly outlines the 30-day requirement. This was not an oversight. This was institutional failure to follow established procedures. Dr. Hoffman closed her laptop deliberately. This is a material breach of due diligence representations. Steinberg cannot proceed with acquisition under these circumstances. Gavin looked like he was going to be sick. We followed all proper restructuring protocols. This is just a technicality. Federal law is not a technicality, Hans replied. Mr. Walsh's documentation shows he followed proper procedure in alerting management to regulatory requirements. Your organization chose to ignore them. That afternoon, Hans called me directly professional courtesy, he said. Wanted to understand the transition timeline and confirm that proper procedures had been documented. I was in my office above Murphy's working on a compliance audit for a client in West Virginia. The call wasn't unexpected. I'd been counting days on my calendar, watching Alpine's violation accumulate like interest on unpaid debt. Mr. Walsh, this is Hans Mueller from Steinberg Infrastructure Group. We are reviewing Alpine's regulatory standing as part of acquisition due diligence. Yes, sir. How can I help you? Can you confirm the timeline of your departure and any transition procedures that were implemented? I gave him the dates, explained the restructuring, confirmed that no formal replacement had ever been designated. When he asked if I'd attempted to notify Alpine of the compliance gap, I mentioned the folder in legal storage. Federal Compliance Archive, reference only. Second shelf, right side should still be there. We found it, Hans said. Very comprehensive documentation. Section 15.2 of the contracting manual appears to address this exact scenario. Yes, sir. I wrote that section in 2019 after watching a competitor lose federal contracts for improper PE transfers. Seemed like prudent risk management, indeed. Are you currently available for consulting engagement? Depends on the scope and timeline. What did you have in mind? Friday morning, Dr. Hoffman called an emergency meeting. Barry, Gavin, the board, legal counsel, everyone who mattered. She laid out the situation without sugarcoating anything. Alpine Bridge has been operating in violation of federal engineering requirements for 128 days. Current regulatory fines total $8.1 million and increase by $75,000 daily until resolved. Gavin started to interrupt. Dr. Hoffman held up her hand. Furthermore, every compliance document submitted during this period is legally invalid. This includes safety certifications, progress reports, and regulatory representations made to Steinberg during preliminary negotiations. Barry's voice was barely audible. What does this mean for the acquisition? It means the acquisition is terminated, Dr. Hoffman said flatly, effective immediately. Our legal team has identified material misrepresentation that creates unacceptable liability exposure for Steinberg. Trust has been compromised, Dr. Hoffman continued. Mr. Walsh provided proper documentation and procedures. Your organization chose to ignore them. This represents systematic failure of corporate governance. The Steinberg team was packed and gone by 2 p.m. Their final communication formally notified Alpine's board that due diligence had revealed material compliance violations and misrepresentation of regulatory standing. The press release went out Monday morning. Steinberg Infrastructure withdraws from Alpine Bridge acquisition due to unresolved regulatory compliance issues. Alpine stock opened down 24% and kept falling. By market close, it had dropped 41% in a single day. Tuesday morning, my phone rang. Dr. Hoffman, this time, Mr. Walsh, Steinberg Infrastructure is interested in retaining your services for comprehensive PE oversight of our North American bridge operations. 1 18-month contract, $215 per hour, full autonomy over compliance methodology. Are you interested? I looked around my little office above Murphy's. Coffee maker that worked most of the time, view of the river where I'd spent my career building things that lasted, and a stack of consulting contracts that had more than doubled my old salary. Yes, ma'am. I'm very interested. Wednesday afternoon, Barry Hutchins announced his early retirement, effective immediately. The board called an emergency meeting to discuss operational restructuring and damage control. Gavin was asked to submit his resignation by Friday. No press release for that one. Thursday morning, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Rodney, this is Gavin. Hope we can connect about potential opportunities. No hard feelings. I read it twice, then deleted it without responding. Some bridges you don't rebuild. 6 months later, Helen finished her treatment. Clean scans, full remission. Her oncologist was cautiously optimistic about long-term prognosis. Jason got promoted to senior engineer when Alpine restructured under new management. The private equity firm sold their stake at a massive loss and moved on to the next efficiency target. I moved into new offices at Steinberg's Pittsburgh headquarters. 15th floor, corner office. View of 3 bridges I'd helped design over the years. My assignment was straightforward: review compliance procedures for all Steinberg U.S. bridge operations and implement unified standards. The work was familiar, but the scale was impressive. 8 major projects across 5 states, each with different regulatory requirements and local compliance challenges. Steinberg wanted a system that could handle federal oversight, state regulations, and international engineering standards. 1 year later, Helen was back to teaching full-time, her hair grown back and energy restored. Jason was leading his own projects with confidence I was proud to see. We'd set up a small scholarship fund at the local engineering school for military veterans transitioning to civilian construction work. That evening, I walked down to Murphy's for coffee. The old man was closing up, but poured me a cup anyway. "How's the new job?" he asked. "Can't complain. Turns out experience is worth something after all. Funny how that works. You know what my brother used to say about bridge construction? What's that? The guy who knows why every bolt goes exactly where it belongs will always have work. The guy who thinks he can build it cheaper without asking why will always be looking for work. Some people spend their careers trying to be seen. I spent mine knowing where the weak points were. My mistake at Alpine was assuming someone else would read the engineering manual after I left. They didn't replace me, they just erased me. And like any good safety system, the consequences were built right into the structure. Gavin had called experienced engineers legacy workforce with outdated operational overhead. Turns out legacy knowledge is what keeps bridges standing when the regulations change and the lawyers come calling. Business has been really good. It just took them $150 million to figure that out. In the end, they learned the most expensive lesson in business. You can fire the man, but you can't fire the knowledge he carries, especially when that knowledge is the only thing standing between your company and federal prison. Experience isn't just what you know. It's knowing what happens when you don't know, and that kind of wisdom can't be automated, outsourced, or eliminated by some kid with a spreadsheet.